Well, I'm Ailbhe Smyth, and I'm representing the Coalition to Repeal the Eighth Amendment. And I want to say a big thank you to Philomena and to Ciara and to everybody in Midwives For Choice for asking us to be here today, and also for being here and for being the wonderful women and midwives that you are. It's been a really very interesting week, I think, from the point of view of reproductive and maternal care and rights in this country. We have had our flip-flopping Minister for Health, who one week has one position, another week he has another, and then the third week he has a different position, slightly nuanced, who this week actually said, and left out the phrase pro-life, by the way, from his statements, that actually he now believes that it is important to ensure that fetal abnormalities and pregnancies, where that is diagnosed, that those couples and women who make that choice should be able to obtain a termination and abortion in this country. And he added to this that he also thought, as Minister for Health, please note, that women's health should be supported and protected. Now, I think it's a very weird country indeed, and Elizabeth came close to saying it was too polite to actually name it, but a very weird country where the Minister for Health actually says he's in favour of supporting and protecting women's health. However, we welcomed that statement because in this very weird, bizarre country, women's health, as we have heard from both Elizabeth and from Ailbhe in their very cogent and, in the case of Ailbhe's speech, very moving speeches, it is important for a Minister for Health to say, actually, I want to respect women, I want to support women, and I want to make sure that their health is protected. Now, we will see for how long the flip-flopping minister remains on that particular position. But for this week at least, that has to be seen as a step forward. And that is the same week in which the same minister launched and introduced the National Maternity Strategy. Now, that strategy, you might think in 2016, gosh, did we not have one before? And if so, why not? But in fact, that strategy, as I understand it, and it's not my area of expertise, but it really came about because of a plethora of reports on the maltreatment and abuse of women in childbirth in this country, and indeed the deaths of women, as we know only all too well and with great sadness, from childbirth in this country. There were several reports on individual cases, culminating in the confidential maternal death inquiry in 2015 in UCC. And that was an independent inquiry, and a central recommendation of that inquiry and that report was that there should be a national maternity strategy. And that is what we now have. And as we know, it is, and again, I would, look to all of you here for your detailed commentary on that report, but on that strategy. But it does seem, on the face of it, to be very sensible and to be long overdue. It's a kind of sensible strategy that we should have had a long time ago. And it places the elements that Elizabeth was speaking about and then that Ailbhe spoke about of choice and consent very centrally, really at the heart of that strategy. But of course, as we also know, the one huge area, the major area where the notion of choice and the notion of consent is completely absent is with regard to abortion. And this is a situation which simply is fundamentally unacceptable. It is unacceptable for the reasons of human rights, of dignity, of respect, of status, of our whole sense of ourselves as complete, integral, autonomous decision-making people. And we simply cannot accept that anymore. Therefore, I felt very sad when I saw that the National Maternity Strategy did not really refer to the fact that there is this huge hole in the middle of it, and that we do not have the right to consent and choice as long as that hole remains in the middle of that strategy. So in this very interesting week, it seems to me in this context that it is hugely timely that Midwives for Choice is formally launched, and that you had the prescience, the kind of that sense that this was something you needed to do as midwives who have a huge contribution to make to the debate, which will undoubtedly gather momentum over the next year or so before we hold a referendum, and there will be a referendum, and we will win that referendum, yes. And your voices will be absolutely crucial. So I want to say that we welcome the formation of Midwives for Choice. Not just for abortion, by the way, but because your voices are so centrally crucial and vital and necessary. It is your wisdom, your experience, your immense good sense, and the fundamental fact that you are up for women. When my daughter was very little, because she grew up with a feminist mother, she used to run around the house saying, "Up for women, votes for women, up for women." And somehow there is that very real sense that I think all of us have with regard to midwives, that you are absolutely up for women and committed to what women feel is best for us. So really, I salute you and I respect you enormously. And I know that the contribution that you make to the debate that we will be having, whether we should be having it or not, whether we want to be having it or not, but that we will be having, will be a very, very important one. And that as you grow in size and confidence, as I know you will, that contribution that you make will be absolutely a critical one. So you're very welcome in this arena, so to speak, and you're very, very welcome as members of the Coalition to Repeal the Eighth Amendment, and there is absolutely no doubt that we will repeal the Eighth, and after that we will continue, all of us, to work for as long as it takes to ensure that the legislation and the regulation and the delivery of services in this country meets the needs and the choices of women, and that it respects our lives, our health, and our choices. And if you'd like a badge, come and see me afterwards. Thank you all very much.